see the topic, Who Am I? If you go through the Vedantic text, you will see many things, how all the lives are created, how the universe is created, how 5 elements were created, and everything was described. But they don't insist that you have to know them for yourself. I have to tell you, you have to understand, you have to know this is this, this is that. They do not give us any responsibility to know them for ourselves. But they give one responsibility. You have to understand yourself as Atma. Because you are Atma, you are the soul, the self. You have to realize that you are the Atma. And the Vedanta scriptures describe you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are pure Atma. You have to understand yourself as the Atma, the Atman. And if you look into the teachings of Ramana Maharishi, he will also used to give the same thing. You have to understand, you have to inquire who you are, who am I, and find out you are the Atman. You have to get Atma Sakshatkar. So we have to have some idea about what is Atma, what is the real self, what is soul. We have to have a glimpse, we have to have an idea about what is Atma, what does the meaning of Atma. For example, we are sitting in a dark room. Everything is dark, nothing is visible. We bring a candle. In the candle light, we can see all the objects of the room. All things are visible with the help of the candlelight. If there is no candlelight, we cannot see anything in the room. Everything is utter darkness. To see the things, the candlelight is very useful, the candlelight is necessary. So if you want to see the candlelight, do you need one another candlelight to see this candlelight? No, we need not have any another candlelight, because the candlelight is self-evident in nature. It expresses itself. It shows itself. It reveals itself. But other things are having no capacity to reveal itself. The candlelight alone has the capacity to reveal itself. So those which is having the self-evident nature is known as the chit, or the some life energy, or some in the name of consciousness. So the consciousness alone, the life energy alone, has the self-evident nature. For example, we are walking in a dark night and we dashed upon a stone or a wall and we got some injury upon the forehead. We feel the pain of the wound. We feel the pain of the injury. How do you feel? How do you know the pain? Do you feel it with the help of a candlelight? No, no candlelight is there. It is utter darkness. But anyhow, we feel the pain. So the pain is self-evident in nature. It expresses itself. So in this way, we have a problem. And we have some tension because of the problem. We have the tension in our mind. We feel some pain in our mind. How do you know? How do you know the pain of your mind? Do you know it with the help of a candlelight? No. The pain is a self-evident. The pain is also self-evident in nature. So in the physical aspect, the physical pain is also self-evident. The psychological pain is also self-evident. The first one is known as physical consciousness or bodily consciousness. The second one is psychological consciousness. So the both have self-evident in nature. We physically know the feeling. We psychologically feel the feeling. It expresses itself, all the pain of the psychological structure, pain of the body expresses itself. It shows the pain, it reveals the pain. For example, we are sitting in a park. In front of us, there is a huge tree. It is open. Anybody can see the tree. It is very huge tree. It is evident. Nobody can deny whether it is real or not. It is real. It is really standing before us. But if you close our eyes, the tree has disappeared. But in the same way, we are having physical pain, we are having psychological pain. Can you hide the pain as you hide the tree by closing your eyes? Can you hide the pain? Can you hide the pain of your mind? Can you hide the pain of your body? We cannot. So those which cannot be hid, those which cannot be denied, its existence is known as consciousness. So the bodily consciousness and psychological consciousness cannot be hid. It is self-evident. This self-evident nature cannot be hid by anything. It is evident. The scriptures say we have to understand the difference between the Atma and Anatma. We have to know the difference between Atma and Anatma. Atma is the self. Atma is the real self. And anatma is the non-self. That which is not atma is known as anatma. Here we see in front of us we see the tree, huge tree. In this way we look at the vast world. And if we close our eyes, the world will disappear. We can hear some sound. If we close our ear, the sound will go away. The whole world, whether it is anatma, the appear and disappear, whether it is anatma, and the consciousness that cannot be hid, whether it is atma. But the Shastra said that the consciousness alone is anatma. The bodily consciousness and psychological consciousness both are anatma. That false. That is not real. He comes to say something beyond the consciousness itself. That is Atma. So what is the role of Atma and what is the role of consciousness? We are having psychological consciousness, we are having physical consciousness that we feel, we know very well. It is self-evident in nature. Nothing can hide it. But the scriptures say they are false. They are not real. Something more, something beyond consciousness is there, that is Atma. So they say the Atma is awareness. They give a name to Atma, awareness. Awareness is the name for Atma. And what is awareness and what is consciousness? What is the difference between awareness and consciousness? For example, we put some sweet in our tongue. We feel the sweetness. The sweetness we cannot hide. It is self-evident in nature. We feel the sweetness. And afterwards, we put some bitter one. And we feel the bitter taste. If you touch some iceberg, we will feel cold. In the same way, if we heat some hot water, we feel the hot. What has turned into the different kind of taste? What has turned into different kind of feeling, hot or cold? So our tongue has a sensitivity. Our body has a sensitivity. But the sensitivity you cannot feel. The sensitivity of the tongue you cannot feel. The sensitivity of the tongue has turned into the taste of sweetness and bitterness. The sensitivity of the body has turned into hot and cold. But the very sensitivity itself is nice. It is not sweetness or bitterness. It is not a cold one, it is not a hot one. It is beyond both. But it itself has turned into different kind of taste, different kind of feeling. So the basic structure, that is the cause for the consciousness, that is the original state for consciousness, is known as awareness. This original sensitivity is awareness. But we cannot feel. When it turns into the form, take the form of a consciousness, then alone we can feel. But the consciousness has a beginning and end. It forms and disappears. The sweetness comes and disappears. the bitterness comes and disappears. That is anidya. That means appearance and disappearance. It is not a permanent one, it is a temporary one. But we cannot measure the consciousness, the awareness beyond as the basis of our consciousness. We cannot feel, we cannot measure what is the real status of our consciousness, awareness, what is the real state of our awareness. We cannot feel, we cannot measure, because there is no apparatus to measure the awareness. We can measure the consciousness, but we cannot measure the awareness. But we can infer. The consciousness, as just like a wave in the sea, it has forms. But the entire ocean is beyond the waves, basis of the waves. But it is the custom of our teaching of the scriptures, giving importance to the Atma. But many suffered as if we have to understand, we have to feel Atma itself. But it is impossible. And somebody asked Ramana Maharishi, you are insisting to get Atma Sakshatkar. We have to understand, we have to feel Atma. Is it possible to feel Atma? How can we feel through sensory organ or through our mind? How can we feel? How can we know? How can we taste Atma? Whether it is possible to feel through our sensory organ. So he simply denied, we cannot feel Atma through sensory organ, we cannot feel through our mind. Then they asked, then how can we feel Atma, how can we taste Atma? So he simply turned his statement, nobody can feel Atma, nobody can taste Atma. We'll say like that as if we have to feel Atma, but no one can feel Atma, no one can taste Atma. But it is there. We can infer. As an inference, we can have Atma. Then why scriptures and many saints give importance to Atma as if we have to feel Atma? So this is a strategy to step down from our consciousness. They are by giving importance to Atma means we should deny the consciousness. So the denying the consciousness alone is important, not feeling and enjoying, tasting the Atma is unimportant. But it is impossible. But their statement related to the Atma means only to the denial of our consciousness. Psychological and physical, everything is coming and going. It is a temporary one. We should not rely upon our reliability upon the conscious level. There may be in many kind of experience. All experience are in the form of consciousness. Some what kind of experience, some good experience, bad experience. All experience are consciousness. Everything comes and goes. Everything is anidya, or everything is temporary. We should not give importance to that. We should not struck up with our conscious experience. So that is the crux of the teaching for giving importance to the Atma. Actually, giving importance to Atma does not mean that we have to taste Atma. We should not feel Atma. It is impossible. But the main thing is that we have to be free from the consciousness, because the freedom, liberation is not related to the Atma. It is related to the consciousness. If you do not give importance to the consciousness, the consciousness goes on freedom. The liberation is related to the conscious level. It has no connection to Atma. But giving importance to Atma is a strategy to neglect the consciousness, conscious experiences. So there is a olden style of the scriptures. But we need not rely upon this way of approaching, but many persons are searching Atma. I want to taste Atma, I will have to feel Atma. In this name of tasting Atma, they are wasting their entire life. They are searching after life they are searching. But it is impossible. But the main theme, main crux for the teaching related to the Atma is that we have to disregard the conscious experiences. That is the important thing. And if we give freedom to the consciousness, but if we think it is permanent, we can seek something, some conscious experience. But nothing is permanent. Everything is transient. Whatever comes, the next moment it will go away. And that is the healthy way of our approach. That is related to the consciousness. And in the yoga process, the concentration with related to the eye consciousness is considered to be the supreme one. And if you concentrated upon the eye consciousness, so it is a good kind of meditation. Thereby you can have some energy field, we can create some energy field, we can feel some energetic or some occult power, many experiences, anything may happen. For the purpose of attaining something, you can do such kind of practice. Otherwise, it is not important. But the other kind of, but why we are also giving importance to the eye consciousness in a different way. What is the role of I am in our approach? We feel I am existing, I am living, I am as a human being, we know ourselves as I am. When we are in a deep sleep, do you have the feeling of I am? We have no feeling of I am. When we are in conscious way, conscious world, we feel we are alive, we have the feeling of I am. But in the sleep itself, if we have dream, in the dream state also the I am is available. We feel I am when we are sleeping, when we are dreaming. In the waking up, I am living, I am having some experience. So you feel the feeling of I am. So what is common in the waking hours and in the dream state? Our thought alone is the common factor available in both the cases. So the thought alone is the reason for our eye consciousness. If there is no thought, there is no I am. In the deep sleep, there is no thought. So in the samadhi state, there is no thought. So whenever thought enters, the eye consciousness will be there. So the eye consciousness is the reason, the thought alone is the reason for the eye consciousness. If there is no thought, there is no eye consciousness. Moreover, the thought functions as a habit of creating the eye consciousness. For example, you look at a tree, the thought enters and it explains. It explains it is a tree. At the same time, it shows you as yourself. Somebody is looking at the tree. At one side, it creates the tree, it colors, it creates the tree. Then at the other end, it creates a picture for yourself as the seer of the tree. So it always creates some duality. Each and every segment of your thought, some duality will be there, the observer and the observed. Without the duality, the thought cannot function. Each and every moment, it will function in duality alone. And for example, if you walk along the road, some bus is coming in front of you. When you look at the bus, you immediately recognize, so you are in front of the bus. You recognize yourself and you recognize the bus itself. So then only you can move away from the bus. So you have to understand, you have to differentiate the bus from yourself. Then only you can act. So in the physical world, the separation is important, the separation is necessary. So you have to understand the bus is away from you and you are away from the bus. So you have to feel a separation. Then only you can act what you have to do, what you should not do. Where you have to turn away, where you have to step down, step away. But the same thought takes a dangerous role within ourselves. Externally it is okay. But psychologically, it creates a nuisance within ourselves. When we have some fear, when we have some anger, you create a ownership that I am having the anger, I am having the fear. Actually, psychologically, there is one experience alone. There cannot be any dual experience. Each and every moment, a single experience alone is possible. But the thought creates a duality within a single experience, as a experience and the experiencer. And the experience takes a responsibility to free from the fear, free from the anger, free from the sorrow. So it is an artificial responsibility, some unnatural responsibility. Actually, each and every moment, new thought alone has come. There cannot be any old thought. Moment by moment, new thought alone can come. So the new thought creates a new experiencer. The new thought creates a new experience. Moment by moment, the experience goes away, the experiencer also goes away. There cannot be any constant experiencer, but the thought holds the experience as a common man from the childhood onwards. Some continuous eye consciousness is available here. But actually, it is a momentary one, created by the momentary thought. But our memory pattern gives a continuity as if you are existing from childhood onwards, you are existing as a single person. And for whom some different kind of experience comes and goes. Actually, the experiencer comes from the experience. When we have the anger, the thought creates a person who is having anger. When we are having a fear, the thought creates a person who is having the fear. The experience comes from the experience, not the experiencer has created any experience. Moment by moment, according to the circumstances, some experience comes, and the thought enters and creates a color as an experiencer and experience. But it is okay with the external world. In the external world, we have to differentiate everything, the experiencer and the experience, the observer and the observer, then only we can function. We can walk away from the bus and do the necessary thing. We have to separate everything. But if we separate ourselves within ourselves, I have to be free from my emotion. I have to keep my emotion with myself always. If it is a good emotion, I have to keep with me forever. If it is a bad emotion, we have to get away from the emotion. So in this way, we are inviting a struggle within ourselves. Thereby, the I consciousness takes a responsibility to deal with ourselves. Actually, psychologically, there is no responsibility. So when there is no responsibility, whatever comes will go away the next moment. Only because of the wrong responsibility, we try to regulate ourselves within ourselves. There are many stories to explain this statement. In our scriptures we can see. Once a saint was doing some meditation on the bank of a river. The other side of the river, some village is there, some village women taking some milk materials to sold the nearby village in this side of the river. That is the usual custom. The villagers from the other side come crossing the river. Because the river was very shallow, they can walk crossing the river by walking itself. They can cross the river and sell the milk materials to these persons and return in the evening crossing the same river again. It is a really daily routine. One day, when they come this side, the river was very shallow. It is very easy for them to cross the river by walking. When they have to return in the evening, because of some new water by new rain, some flood is there in the river. So they cannot cross the river. So they seek the help of the saint who is doing meditation on the bank of the river. And the saint told them, I am very hungry. Please give me something for my food. I will help you. And the villagers give him the remaining food materials, and he ate everything. And after eating everything, he goes near the river and says to the river, if I have not ate anything, please give me the way for the persons. And the river also give way to the persons, as if approve that he has not ate anything. But after the villagers has gone away, crossing the river, and the saint was sitting for meditation, and the disciple asked a question. In front of us, you ate everything, but you asked the river that you have not eaten anything, and you told that I have not eaten anything, and you please give me the way, give way to the persons. What happened here? So the reason is to explain this statement. Because each and every moment, the new I consciousness is there. When the saint eating something, some I consciousness is there, but it goes away. After the eating is over, the I consciousness goes away. So when he goes near the river, new eye consciousness is there. The new eye consciousness has not eaten anything. So, so moment by moment, the eye consciousness is new. To tell the message, they created this story like this. But it is purely applicable to the psychological world alone. It is not to the physical world. For example, you borrowed some amount to your neighbor, and saying that I will give you return in tomorrow, next day. And the next day the neighbor came to you to get back the amount. You cannot say the person who has received the amount has gone yesterday itself, new person is here, I cannot refuse to repay it. So physically you are the same person from childhood onwards, you are the same person. But psychologically, moment by moment we are new. But if you try to be an old person, we take some responsibility to deal with something for the future. So all future, present, past, everything comes when you have a continuity for yourself. But psychologically, moment by moment you are new. The old has gone. Each and every present moment alone, some present eye consciousness is there. It is a momentary one. So when we are momentary, we should not have any responsibility. So psychologically, we have to be free with ourselves. If you hold yourself as somebody, as a continuous one, there is a real bondage for yourself. You are binding yourself as somebody, as a continuous person. That is the bondage. That is a psychological bondage for yourself. So you have to be free from yourself. The new I has to be free from the new I, old I. So moment by moment, you are a momentary I consciousness. And psychologically, each and every moment some experience comes, the next moment experience goes. There cannot be any permanent experience. Moment by moment, new experience alone is there. And when the thought enters, it creates the experience and experiencer. But it doesn't matter. But when we give importance to the I consciousness, the experiencer as a role, to saturate yourself, saturate your experience, then only the problem starts. So if you have the idea to establish yourself in a good state, then the I takes a role, the I takes a responsibility. If you don't have any idea to saturate yourself, whatever it be, you have to go along with that. Then the experience, the responsibility of the I consciousness also goes away. Just like the experience goes away, the experiencer also goes away. So psychologically, we must be like a living river. Moment by moment, new water alone has to come. New experience alone has to come. New thought alone has to come. There should not be any old. Actually, really, new thing alone is there. We think we are a continuous one, we are a past one, we are going toward a future one. But the present, past, future, everything, for the external world is concerned, is a must. We have to plan for the future. We have to consider the past. We have to consider the past knowledge. We have to move towards the future. We have to safeguard the future. We have to get some lesson from the past. We have to gather many ideas from the past. that is purely good for the external world. But the psychological world is quite opposite. Here, freedom alone is the rule. We should not shape anything. We should not plan anything. I must be like that. I should not be like this. So there is no choice. There should not be any selection. There should not be any comparison. So it is only purely psychological. The psychological world is different, and the physical world is different. But if you psychologically free, if you psychologically don't have any idea, psychologically don't have any philosophy to hold yourself, that is liberation. Liberation is our natural state. You need not create. If you create something, you have to lose it. But it is a natural state. You cannot lose it. Even though you lose it, it will be there. You may not be aware of that, but it is there, already there. When we were a child, we are in the same state. Only because of our intellect, only because of the grown up of our intellect, our innocence has gone away. Actually, the liberation is an innocent state of our mind. The innocent state of our mind and liberation is not different. Both are same. Here, our knowledge alone is the enemy. Our understanding is that we have to let it free. As if we do not know anything. We have to let the mind operate on its own, as if we have no idea. But all our idea, all our philosophy, everything is only related to the external. External world, you can plan, you can do anything, you can correct anything, you can change anything, you can remodel anything. But here, you have psychologically, you have to accept yourself totally, wholeheartedly. So that you have to decide, that you have to find out, that you have to understand. If you understand, the understanding will operate and nothing more is needed. You may have some different kind of emotion, different kind of quality, different kind of mindset. But in spite of all those things, you have to accept yourself totally, wholeheartedly. You need not wait. If I have my character has to change, then only I can get enlightenment. My temperament has to go. My temperament has to change. Nothing is needed. In spite of all those things, at any time, if you accept you wholeheartedly, that's the end of it. You might have know something or may not know something about the auction sale. There is some difference between the ordinary sale and the auction sale. For example, if you purchase a product in a shop and take it to the house and find some problem in the product, you can go and return to the shop owner and get back another thing. Some rules for the ordinary sale is like that. But the auction sale is different. If you get anything on auction, you cannot complain. some product, some repair is there, some defect is there, you have to return something, you cannot ask for a return of anything, replacement of anything, because it was sold to you with all its defects. I am selling the thing, I am sell on auction with all its defects. That's the rule of auction sale. So here, with all our defects, at any time we can be enlightened. So I have such kind of defect, I have such kind of problem, nothing is needed, nothing is worried, nothing can be taken into account. With all our defect, we can be liberated, we can be enlightened. The flowing alone must be there. It is already flowing. But if you select something, this must be like this must not be like this, that alone is not correct. We have to accept ourselves wholeheartedly, totally. If we select ourselves, this is good, this is bad, then we are creating some choice, creating some struggle within ourselves. So you have to accept yourself wholeheartedly with all your defects. Some emotion may be good, some emotion may be bad. But in the eyes of reality, in the eyes of liberation, in the eyes of enlightenment, everything is good, everything is real, everything is natural. You need not worry of anything. We need not worry about any of our emotions. We need not feel guilty for anything. In each and every religion, to eradicate the guilty feeling, they have some strategy. When in Hindu religion, if you take bath in Ganga river, all your sins will be pardoned, all sins will go away, you will be forgiven. In Christianity, if you seek for if you give pardon for everything, if you put down every sin, if you're, what is the known as? In English? Confession. If you give a state of confession that I have done this sin and everything, it will be pardoned. Is it true? For example, one person committed a murder. The police rushed after him. He fastly ran away and jumped into the river of Ganga. I have taken bath, nobody should arrest me because all my sins were pardoned, all forgiven. The scripture says like this, why should you arrest me after taking bath in the Ganga? So all these things are related only. So whatever may be the guilty, you might have committed a wrong, many things. But everything is past. You should not feel guilty for anything. So that is the reason behind the confession or the forgiven or the taking bath in the Ganga river. Everything is only on the connection. Psychologically it is okay, it is correct, 100% correct. There is no wrong in it. But it is not taken into account in the physical manner. So psychologically, we should not be responsible to do anything. We have to put down all our responsibility. We have to leave our mind in a natural process. If it is moving on the natural process just like a living river, everything will be washed away. Nothing will stay there. So if you raise any question, we may discuss on those lines.